Hello, this is Brian. Today is Sunday, October 24th, 2021. I am near Mount Peltier, which is a mountain peak along Table Mountain Ridge, just east of Table Mountain, where the observatory site is. And today I want to film a spotlight on shrubs. Today's spotlight is on a high elevation version of the Great Basin Sagebrush, which is Artemisia tridentata. This subspecies is called mountain sagebrush, Artemisia tridentata subspecies vaseyana. It is a small to sometimes quite moderately decent sized shrub. It's an evergreen member, in other words, persistent leaf member of the sunflower family, the Asteraceae. And it's quite a common fixture, especially on drier mountain slopes. And you can see here, you get these long inflorescent stalks. These are the flowers, the late summer, early fall flowers of Artemisia tridentata. And of course, up here being subspecies vaseyana. And the inflorescences are quite large, and they have these really inconspicuous miniature flower heads that are kind of discoid, so they don't really put off a lot of brilliant yellow color, but the inflorescence itself is quite noticeable because it's very erect. It's kind of like a panicle, very erect and somewhat branched, and it being named a sagebrush connotes that it has a very aromatic scent, and yes, it does. So the leaves for mountain sagebrush are basically the same as your regular sagebrush, your regular basin sagebrush, as that they are three-lobed at the tip. Now the leaves are kind of small, so it's going to be kind of hard to get really close detail. The lower you go on the plant, the larger the leaves usually are. That tends to be true in a lot of Asteraceae. I probably mentioned that on other videos. Let's see if I can get some detail in on here. It's going to be kind of hard, but if you look closely, the lobes, the teeth, there are like three teeth at the end, or three mini lobes at the edge of the leaves. And you can see the leaves are kind of jagged on the tip, so three-lobed leaves. It's pretty typical for Artemisia tridentata. Now, subspecies vaseyana is typically a higher elevation variety or subspecies. We are at about 7,400 feet in elevation right now, and they can grow even significantly higher than this. And I believe they can go down to about 6,000 feet, I believe, maybe lower in colder spots. But they like to be where it's sunny, cold during the winter, warm and exposed during the summer, and fairly dry. They're very drought-tolerant plants. And the most exposed sites, they're quite low growing, as you can see here. So you do get your fair amount of smaller plants, and you get your fair amount of more medium and sometimes larger specimens. I've seen them get up close to my head before. And you're going to see these a lot, again, in sunny exposures, especially in open stands of pinyon-juniper woodland, open jeppery pine forest, where there's more sunshine reaching the ground, and a lot of times along roadsides, disturbed areas, they are quick to colonize those, and mountain meadows. After a rainfall, especially during the warmer months of the year, the essential oils that create that sagebrushy smell will be very prominent in the air. And it's a very sharp, very pungent, very clean aroma. Very clean, very refreshing aroma, which can get overpowering when you get warm summer rains. I've driven through mountain country and seen this, or smelled it, after a summer rain, and it's very pungent. So, one thing about Artemisia tridentata as a general species is that they start off relatively brittle and herbaceous when they're very young, but unlike a lot of Asteraceae, shrubs and subshrubs in Asteraceae, they develop quite a bit of woodiness a little bit earlier in their life. Now, a lot of shrubs, like golden bushes and stuff like that, rabbit brushes, they'll develop their woodiness only on the very lowest portion of their branches and trunks, but the woodiness on mountain sagebrush comes a little bit higher up, towards even the upper portions of the branches. So the only softer tissue is basically found in the upper edges of the twigs. And mountain sagebrush, including other subspecies of Artemisia tridentata, form very woody, gnarly trunks with age. And their bark is very shreddy. It's kind of brownish gray. And their trunks can get quite large for what you'd expect on a smaller shrub. Very contorted and twisted. So I imagine these can have quite a bit of longevity. And this is a prime example of their habitat. This is mostly single-leaf pinyon woodland with occasional Jeffrey pine, lots of Fremontodendron californicum, California flannel bush, very common in this stretch up here. Again, here you got Pinus monophylla, single-leaf pinyon. You got Ceanothus greggii, desert ceanothus. It's another common associate, as well as related plants like rabbit brush in the genus Artemisia, and a lot of Asteraceae subshrubs as well. So mountain sagebrush is very common along this Forest Service road. So I'm going to be hiking back down. I also have a video set on Mount Peltier. This is the mountain I'm on right now. I also have a video set for the hike, so be on the lookout for that. But right now I want to focus on this awesome shrub. So later on, towards later in fall, their flower heads become seed heads, and then the seed should start crumbling out and sprinkling the ground. So here's another associated plant commonly found, and this is Cercocarpus ledifolius variety intermontanus, curly Cercocarpus, more Ceanothus greggii, and more rabbit brush. And then in some places you'll even find high desert cacti, like Echinocerius mohavensis, Echinocerius triglochitinatus, Opuntia fiacantha. Especially if you go to the San Bernardino Mountains, where high elevation cactus plants are actually more common. I haven't seen any here in San Gabriel's yet. Hopefully one day, maybe I'll get lucky. And then, since we're at elevation, greenleaf manzanita is another common associate, and that's Arctostaphylos patula. As you can see, along this roadside here, since this area was disturbed to make these roads, makes prime habitat for Artemisia tridentata, subspecies vaseyana. So you'll see a lot of that plant along the way up here, and here in the higher San Gabriel Mountains, here in eastern LA County, you'll get quite a few of these specimens showing up. I want to see if I can find one that has a really girthy trunk on it. I haven't seen so many of them up here, but I have seen some here in the San Gabriels that have some really gnarly trunks on them, and they're quite picturesque. When they get old, these plants can get very picturesque. I mean, they're really cool looking as they're small, but when they get larger and they get closer up to your head, they can be quite an interesting sight. Here's a slight example of it right here. Let me move this manzanita out the way just a little bit. That old twisty trunk. And their trunks can get quite thick, several inches wide. So this is actually a good time to see them. Here we go. Here's more exposed trunks. Here are more exposed trunks right here. They can get much larger than that. And you'll see sagebrushes dotting this open Jeffrey pine forest here too. That's another common thing to see. I briefly mentioned earlier, but you'll see a lot of sagebrush and Jeffrey pine forest up and down all these mountains here in California. Seen it in the Sierra Nevada, Seen it in the Scotia Mountains, seen it here, of course, San Bernardino Mountains. A lot of our mid and higher level mountain ranges host quite a few scores of this plant. So I'm going to go to this quick, just going to take a quick little detour here. Well, here's a taller sagebrush here. Here we go, a little bit taller. They can get up to about your head, maybe even slightly taller. Maybe even slightly taller, actually. There are occasions where mountain sagebrush gets quite tall. Here we're getting a little taller here, right here on the edge of the road. These are quite interesting looking plants. And in the coastal and near coastal foothills of Southern California and Central California, I believe, as well, we also have its relative Artemisia Californica. I know I've mentioned that on my lower elevation hikes in the coastal and foothills. And they can get quite similar in size and stature, and they can also get these pretty gnarly woody trunks as well. So they can get quite picturesque as well. And it's a relative. The only thing is, though, the leaves are often three-lobed as well, but the lobes are very narrow and linear, almost like needles. And they don't feel like it because they're very soft. Their leaves are very narrow and their lobes are very narrow. But you can see here, this open stand of Pinus jeffreyi over here. A lot of that, a lot of the small shrubs, those are sagebrushes. So when you're in middle and higher mountain terrain, especially these open dry stands of woodlands and forests, make sure you take some time out to gently rub a leaf and appreciate the beauty of this shrub, Artemisia tridentata subspecies vaseyana. That's going to be it for my spotlight on shrubs. It's time for me to get a little something to drink because I'm getting a little thirsty, and I'll see you on another spotlight coming soon, hopefully. Thanks for watching.